Welcome to a new podcast. This episode takes up the themes expressed in the meeting, Breaking the Chain of Hate, A Choice for Peace, with SIMA AWAD and MAAYAN INON, of the Parents Circle Families Forum.
So, our mission today really is to look at these testimonies, these incredibly tough personal stories.
Yeah, really tough.
And try to understand this one powerful idea, how people who've faced, well, the absolute worst loss in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict can actively choose peace. Like right away sometimes, not revenge.
It really is an amazing example of human will, isn't it? They take this unbearable weight of grief, losing parents, a brother, and they actually use it. They use it as the foundation for the future they want to build. And they often do this through the Parent Circle Families Forum, the PCFF.
Right, the PCFF.
Which is, kind of an unusual organization, that whole landscape.
Yeah, it gathers around, 800 Israeli and Palestinian families?
Roughly, yes. And the thing is, every single one of them, they've all lost someone close because of the conflict.
Which brings us right to the main question we really need to unpack today. Yeah. How can you possibly move past that really natural gut reaction for payback?
That distribution, yeah.
And instead choose to work with people who, history or culture might label as the enemy.
And what's really striking in the sources we looked at is that this choice, it's often not presented as this slow, gradual thing over years.
Right.
Sometimes it seems like a very deliberate, almost immediate decision, an act of will. And we see this contrast really clearly when we look at the timelines for the two women featured, MAAYAN and SIMA.
Okay, let's start with MAAYAN INON. Her story is so, immediate, so raw.
It really is.
She lost her parents, Jacoby and Tommy, on October 7th, 2023. During the Hamas attack, they lived in Netiv Hassara, right on the Gaza border. Their home was burned down.
And it's important to remember, the context MAAYAN talked about. Growing up near Gaza, it wasn't always this hard, this separate. Before things got so intense, she mentioned they had neighbors, friends. They used to shop and eat in Gaza. There was, a shared life there.
A life that was just violently cut short.
Exactly. Brutally interrupted.
But there are these personal details around the loss itself that they just stick with you. MAAYAN talked about this incredible, really personal moment on the morning of the attack. 8:06 a.m.
Yeah, that was stunning.
She felt like she saw a vision of her father, Jacoby, hugging her and heard him say, very peacefully, "We are gone."
Wow. That kind of clarity, even before knowing the physical facts.
It's profound.
It really is. But then, here's where that deliberate choice kicks in. The family started Shiva, the 7 days of mourning, almost right away. October 8th.
You'd expect, anyone would expect calls for revenge, for action, right? Someone has to pay.
Absolutely. But the family, incredibly quickly, made this strong decision.
Yeah.
No revenge, no calls for more bloodshed.
That's the part I just find so hard to wrap my head around. In those first moments, raw grief, fear. How do you make a choice like that?
Yeah.
Was everyone on board? Did people around them push back?
The sources suggest the pressure might have been more external. Internally, their conviction seems pretty solid. They based it on who their parents were.
Right.
Jacoby and Tammy were peace activists. Their lives were about dialogue. So MAAYAN's conclusion was, her parents were victims of hate. They weren't victims of peace.
Ah, that's a key distinction.
Exactly. So to truly honor them, they felt they had to reject the very hate that killed them. It was about their legacy, more than the immediate, understandable urge for an eye for an eye.
Honoring the life, not getting consumed by the way they died, that's powerful.
And then you contrast that almost immediate choice with SIMA AWAD's story. Her loss happened much earlier, and it really shaped her whole youth.
Right. SIMA lost her brother, Mahmoud. He was only 17.
Yeah, back in January 2008. Killed by an Israeli sniper. He was trying to protect a building from demolition near Hebron and Bethlehem.
And Mahmoud, he sounded like the absolute heart of their family.
Definitely. SIMA said he was her mother's first child. The reason she learned to smile, she said. And his diaries, which SIMA read later, they showed these typical teenage dreams,
Yeah.
He was in love with a girl, thinking about marriage, just a life about to start, and then gone instantly.
And the grief that followed, it just shattered their world, didn't it?
Completely. SIMA was young, but felt it all. Her mother's pain was so immense, it kind of isolated her from everyone else, even her own family, for years. SIMA actually says she feels like she lost her childhood because of it.
So, okay. MAAYAN's family makes this immediate choice for peace. SIMA's mother, though, starts in this place of deep, isolating grief. How did she get out? How did she find the PCFF?
Well, it started with an invitation. A friend invited her to the women's circle, part of the forum.
And was she willing?
Not at first, absolutely not. She refused point blank to even sit with an Israeli woman. The pain was too raw, the identity of, the other side was too clear in her mind. But her friend persisted, convinced her just to go.
And then came the turning point, not through some big political argument, right?
No, not at all. It was just sheer shared humanity. The Israeli woman sitting across from her just spoke. She simply said, "I am also a mother. I also lost my son." And that sentence, it just broke through everything. Years of bitterness, SIMA's mother said. She suddenly realized the pain wasn't specifically Palestinian or Israeli. It was just human suffering caused by the conflict itself.
That's the connection.
That's the connection. And that led her to join the PCFF properly.
Okay, so SIMA's mother finds this connection through shared grief. But SIMA's own path into this work, that's where we really see the maybe political dimension of the PCFF's work. Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because when SIMA first went to a PCFF summer camp, she was only 14. She didn't go looking for friends or understanding.
No. What was her goal?
She went with a very clear mission to accuse the Israeli teenagers there, to tell them they had destroyed her youth, broken her family.
Wow, she went in ready for a fight.
Totally. Armed for battle, you could say. But then the process. Talking, actually sharing stories, and crucially listening. It made her stop and think, reevaluate who or what she was really angry at.
And she realized the teenagers sitting opposite her
Weren't the enemy. They were kids, like her, dealing with their own stuff from the conflict. They weren't the cause of her deep, lasting pain.
So what did she decide was the cause? This is critical.
She shifted her focus completely. She concluded the real root of her family's suffering, her lost childhood, was the occupation. The system itself.
Ah, okay. So it's not about the individual soldier or the individual teen.
Exactly. It's the structure. And that insight, that was everything. It changed her mission. She didn't need to fight with those Israeli teens. She realized she needed to work alongside them as partners.
To dismantle the very thing they both saw as the source of the violence and oppression.
Precisely. It became a collaborative goal that completely redirected her life.
And that really highlights the core idea of the PCFF, doesn't it? It shifts the focus from blaming individuals to tackling the structural problem together.
Yes. Which brings us back to this idea of choice. The word forgiveness, perdonar in Italian, as mentioned in the meeting context, it carries so much weight. MAAYAN actually suggests it might be the wrong word altogether.
Why is that? Too much to ask.
Maybe too much, too absolute, especially when the pain is still there, the conflict is ongoing. She emphasizes instead this personal, conscious choice to move forward. It's about reclaiming your agency,
Right. You choose what you do today, even if the past isn't fully resolved or forgiven.
Exactly. You decide your actions now.
So, okay, they make this choice. How does it actually work day to day? What's the practical mechanism they use for peace?
Well, a lot of it seems to start with communication, how they communicate. SIMA talked about learning to truly listen.
Just listen.
Really listen. She developed this view that fundamentally there are just good people and bad people in the world. Doesn't matter their religion, where they're from, nationality. And she found that if you approach others with genuine respect, just basic human respect, they usually return it. Listening helps you see the person separate from the system or the uniform.
And MAAYAN adds to this.
Yeah, MAAYAN talks about trying to see the light in others, looking past the surface stuff, the fear, the defensiveness we all put up.
It's not about becoming numb or empty then.
Not at all. It's about actively trying to build a new circle of communication, one based on recognizing that shared human spark, that light in everyone.
And this changes how they interact with everyone.
Totally. Their own kids, people they meet on the street, everyone. They approach interactions with this underlying assumption. The other person has a story, even if they don't tell it.
That sounds exhausting, but it's like active empathy, practiced every day, assuming complexity before judging.
It is. But you see the results, right? Like that incredible, unexpected friendship that just bloomed between SIMA and MAAYAN during the trip where they shared these stories.
Yeah, they knew each other from the forum, but it became something deeper, didn't it?
Instantly. It just clicked. MAAYAN described SIMA as like half daughter, half sister.
And SIMA called MAAYAN sister.
Yeah. It went way beyond just being colleagues in advocacy. It became real kinship, real emotional connection. You saw it in the small things, too.
Like what?
Like SIMA being worried about her tough journey back home through Jordan because of border issues. And MAAYAN showing genuine sisterly concern for her. It just shows that the trust built on that shared experience, that shared loss, It can be stronger than any political line on a map.
If that kind of connection can happen right there between them, it makes you ask what they're really hoping for. What does hope even look like after everything they've been through?
It's different for each, but related. MAAYAN, she hopes for dialogue to continue, obviously, but she has this, well, quite sobering perspective, too. She talked about the current phase, this incredibly difficult time, as being maybe a necessary purification.
Purification? That sounds intense. What does she mean by that?
It's complex. It
Yeah.
doesn't sound passive, like just waiting. It sounds more like accepting that this current trauma, this awful reckoning, might be necessary to finally force both peoples to see the undeniable truth. They have to find a way to live together, side by side, maybe even integrated.
So the violence itself, paradoxically, might clarify the absolute need for peace.
That seems to be her view, that it strips away the alternatives.
And SIMA, how does she define hope?
For SIMA, hope sounds more like fuel.
Yeah.
It's the reason she gets up and does the work every single morning. It's not just a distant dream, it's the energy for her activism now.
And the parent circle helps maintain that.
Yeah, she says the circle actively nurtures that hope. It enables her and others to keep going with the really hard day-to-day work of communication and connection.
So, okay, for someone listening to this, hearing these stories, maybe feeling completely powerless about the whole situation, what do MAAYAN and SIMA say to you?
They address that directly, that feeling of helplessness.
And their advice is actually pretty concrete, isn't it?
Very. First, don't feel powerless. Don't give in to that. Second, share these stories. Share the stories of the PCFF. Don't stay silent.
Just talking about it helps.
Talking, sharing, yes. And crucially, they urge everyone listening, be responsible for your own words, your own communication. This is key. You can be against an action, the violence, the bombing, the occupation, whatever it is, without being against the person. Make that distinction clear.
Separate the act from the human being.
Exactly. Their work basically proves it. The most powerful thing we can do, maybe, is to humanize the other
Well,
by hearing and sharing their stories. If hate thrives on making people less than human,
then choosing to communicate, choosing to share these stories of loss and, well, transcendence, that's
Yeah.
how you break the chain.
that's bias.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? If friendship, if this deep sense of shared humanity can spark almost instantly between two people like SIMA and MAAYAN, right in the shadow of such awful recent trauma,
Yeah.
then what responsibility does that put on the rest of us? On you, listening now, maybe far away from the conflict? What does it mean for how we choose to act, how we choose compassion and dialogue in our own everyday lives?
Right. If they can build that new circle out of such profound loss, surely we have the capacity, maybe even the obligation, to practice that same choice, that choice for compassion, for seeing the story in the other person every single day.
With everyone we meet.
Regardless of how different they might seem, that choice made over and over by millions of people, maybe that's what really breaks the chain.